Yeah, and you know, you mentioned, made me look up, so I can see the cap flashing on all the doors. Certainly always a good detail, and then that is taped back to the hydro flash here. So good details.
And then at the bottom, we've got our water table. Same idea where we've got the actual metal flashing.
Yep.
We've got white down here, black here. This black we'll see later. That ends up tying into our window frames.
Right.
So thinking about how all of that ties together.
Yeah, and when we get over there, we'll talk, you guys hold up the siding, we'll talk about those details, but I notice there's a lot of material in here. I grabbed these and set them aside. You know, it's really interesting. Honestly, I've never put my hands on this product. We've used LP Smart Side, but not the shingled one.
And this is pre-painted before it gets to us.
And this is pre-painted before it gets to you, but you know, obviously there's the receiving end here, and then we have the overlapping end there. So these just basically tie in, continues the pattern. But the thing that I really like about this is, notice it's finished on this side. It's also finished on this side. So I can hang this way with a staggered pattern, or I can hang it up and bury the staggered pattern and have the straight run on the bottom. So in that one board, it gives me two options of how to show this off.
We specified it in the design more in the gable ends, and I've tried to figure out, never have been successful, in the vernacular, in what situations did they have shakes, in what situations did they not. And I'm sure it has to do with what the local trees were. But in my mind, if you were building a house, sometimes you'd have lap down here and shakes up high. They didn't have forklifts or things. So I have no evidence to prove this, but I'm just thinking it would be a heck of a lot easier if you had shakes to put them up in the gable, which might be the reason why we see it more in the gables instead of the reverse with the lap down low.
This is probably a more of a question to consult with Brent Hull on, but I'm going to take a stab at it. In New England, typically, if you have a Cape house, the front elevation is usually clapboards and the other three sides are shingles in the older homes, which suggests that older culture viewed shingles as the cheap siding.
Yep.
And that lap siding that's where we put our best foot forward, that's where we paint it, that gives that beautiful look of the house. And oh, by the way, the other three sides have shingles on it.
Yeah.
But now, if you go to New England, the shingles are pretty much the one with the highest price. So it's,
well, and you look at the shingle style.
And the shingle style.
It was celebrating the shingle look.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the last thing about this, we'll move on, but the last thing I like about this is it's a 4-foot section. Like, I can manage to install this and hold a nail gun, and this could be a one-man siding show all day long.
Yep, exactly. And while we're here, we do have the Aqua hose bib. Have you used these on your projects?
Yeah, we use them on a lot of our projects. You call them hose bibs, I call them hose bibs, they call them hydrants.
Yes.
Which
they originally came from boats.
Yeah.
So we were able to specify black working with those folks, the hose and everything. So we're just trying to do the little elements, tie them all together to give that aesthetic.
Yeah, and they have different ones. If you're not familiar, go check it out at, I think it's aqua.com. It's that simple, but we like to use, they make a stainless steel one that's about 1 3/4 inches in diameter. So that's all you see, you see that one circle that flips up. And
this material was kind of their trim piece, so you can specify all of those. I don't remember, this is probably a 2x6 wall, but in any case, you just want to be careful what your length is that goes into the wall, that you've kind of thought through all of those details.
Well, it's interesting, and this is hopefully not a mistake, but putting this on a garage wall, in New England, I'd always kind of frown away from that because we have the ability to freeze on the inside of our garages. So obviously you probably don't have that case here.
We really don't. I believe, well, I know one of the things will insulate the whole water line, but we just don't run into that too terribly often. So this is a standard place for us when people drive up. It's out of the view, but at the same time, this is where people are going to be washing their vehicles.
Washing their cars, or if you need to bring it over to the garden or your potted plants or whatever.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that seems to work quite well. So I notice over here, you switch to a different siding. This looks like a nickel gap, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's going to be especially why we use the Benjamin Obdike product, is because you don't have that natural air gap behind your lap siding.
Yeah.
They come in 16-foot lengths, which is nice, and they're lightweight.
And the joint is fully finished so that regardless of where this nickel gap goes, it is always finished on the inside there. And I mean, that locks in quite nice, locks in flat, very consistent. And actually this, I'm surprised, well, not surprised, but I think we're getting really good at it, but I'm intrigued by how great of a wood pattern this is.
Yeah, this is their smooth product, and they do have just a little bit of texture to it, and that's intentional. I talked to one of the gentlemen from over there.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind, so for us, because these are balloon frame walls, I think we're going to do a video with my brother about that later.
Okay.
Because it's not platform framed, we're able to take the 16-foot lengths and kind of design that in for how high we go and make super efficient use of materials.
Yeah. The thing, I guess, you know, proper planning, like anyway, you don't want to end up with a 6-foot piece that you can't use somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to be able to use this, but this could probably get used as soffits in, you know, porches and stuff like that.
Yep.
So the nickel gap is a pretty, how can I say, it has a wide spectrum of aesthetic uses. Right. I can use it in a lot of places. So using up those scraps is probably a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah, it changes the look for sure.